Work on the 12th package of sanctions against Russia has just begun. It is not yet known for sure which restrictions will be included in the final version. The Western media speak most confidently about a ban on their export of Russian diamonds. Before Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Moscow earned up to $4.5 billion a year from this. On September 15th, Belgian authorities told Reuters that the G7 countries would announce a ban on imports of Russian diamonds in the near future, and earlier similar plans were announced in the Council of Europe. Also, countries where diamonds are processed will have the label raw materials from Russia. This will lead to a restructuring of the entire global gem market. Strategically, this will worsen the damage to the Russian economy. However, experts call this step insufficient.
When one sanctions after another are introduced, sooner or later their cumulative effect can really have an impact, but unfortunately this is not being done as decisively as we would like. If only the EU would now start harmonizing the price ceiling. That is, if it imposed sanctions on all insurance companies that insure transportation at prices above the ceiling, took a number of other measures of the same kind, and at the same time pursued a policy of reducing the price flow, this could kill the Russian economy throughout the year.
According to Bloomberg, the EU will tighten controls on sanctions and evasion, and perhaps will develop a mechanism for transferring frozen assets of the Russian central bank to Ukraine. In this case, Kyiv could receive an additional up to $213 billion. In addition, a number of countries are proposing to introduce restrictions on the Russian nuclear industry. Until now, this industry has remained untouchable. According to analysts, such a decision is being prepared, but it is unlikely to be included in this sanctions package.
About nuclear fuel, it is not without reason that even Hungary wants to replace the nuclear fuel supplier from Russia to France, but we will probably have to wait a few more months until we get around to an export version of fuel for nuclear power plants.
The most stringent restrictions against Russia are proposed to be introduced by Poland and the Baltic countries. They consider it necessary to increase pressure on Russian IT companies and the steel industry, ban the export of liquidated gas, and also limit the import of synthetic rubbers and caustic soda into the EU. In addition, it is proposed to introduce new sanctions against companies associated with the Russian military industry and propaganda. And most importantly, Warsaw proposes to radically reconsider the restrictions regarding Belarus.
It is urgent that the EU adopts a new sanctions package against Belarus, aligning measures between sanctions against Russia and Belarus. The current lack of alignment creates a systemic loophole where Belarus becomes a hub for circumventing EU sanctions against Russia, from a Reuters publication.
The 12th package of EU sanctions is expected to be introduced in October. Reported by Roman Smoler, Danilo Kobza, UATV News.